how to stay fat, get fatter, and stay in pain. Not the outcome you want? Let me explain. Not the direction you want? Let me explain. If you want to stay fat or get fatter, i.e. lose the battle with the bulging belly fat, then do these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. First one, keep doing what worked when you were in your 20s. Beers, burgers, odd game of football, bit of a run, the odd salad, bit of food. This is something we come across all the time, and it's such a conundrum for us guys to work out, is how to get outside of our heads and start thinking in a forward-facing, forward-looking approach to our health and fitness. We get locked in to the glory days, basically, which is when we were in our 20s, smashing rugby, playing football, out in the town, meeting chicks, whatever it might be. We get so caught up in this narrative that it rolls through our 30s and it rolls into our 40s as well. And lo and behold, we're 40-year-old men, we're fat, we've got a belly, our cholesterol's up, our health, general outcomes are not looking good, yet somewhere in here we're still living our 20s, and we think all we need to do is just apply the system that we had, let's be honest, probably didn't work in our 20s, needs to apply to our 40s. Well, I'm here to tell you that party is over. You need to change, you need to transition, you need to have a system that is applicable for your 40-year-old self, your 50-year-old self, your 60-year-old self, and your 70-year-old self. That's number one. Number two, follow every Fitfluent on Instagram that has a six-pack, visible abs, however you want to put it. And then jump in with both feet to the next thing, shiny thing that person is talking about. And this is so prevalent in today's world. We're all kind of comparing each other to what's going on in the influencer space, and we're all on social media all the time, and it's so easy, myself included, to get caught up in the shiny new tactic or whatever it might be, this fad diet, this dogmatic approach, essentially, something that will control every aspect of what you're inputting, and therefore you'll get a good outcome. However, the reality, the practicality of life means we cannot control all the inputs. So a dogmatic approach to dieting, a dogmatic approach to fitness, whatever that might be, I'm not going to label any here, I'm sure you can think of a few, not going to apply to you necessarily. And most importantly, which is the first principle of my Fit Lean Dad program, which is sustainability. The process that you embark on has to be sustainable for the long term. Otherwise, don't get involved. Do not touch it with a barge pole if you do not think that you can do it today, every day, for the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life. Okay? Therefore, not sustainable, not interested. Number three, how to stay fat and get fatter. Don't count or measure anything. Just go on your feelings. This, when you say it out loud, sounds a bit daft, but is the reality of how most of us live our lives in kind of what I call zombie mode. We're on autopilot. We're letting our habits that have got us here carry on, and the routines and generally the feelings we have about doing things or not doing things, the motivation, whatever that might be in the moment, we're allowing that to dictate the process that we apply. It's never going to be a good outcome. And I think like a lot of these 7 points, you're not thinking it through, and when you articulate it out loud, it sounds a bit daft. But in reality, this is what we're doing with our lives. We're on autopilot, and we're not putting any objective measures in place that will give us the outcome that we want. Then the end of the year comes around and we're a bit surprised that we don't have the outcome that we want. Yeah, what to say about this? Something I do and have caught myself doing many, many times. Something I'm constantly working on is finding a process that has appropriate measures in place and developing the skill. Yeah, it's unreasonable to expect that you've got this skill already. Developing the skill of counting. That sounds really daft when you say it out loud. However, I think it's probably the most valuable skill that you can develop. How to assess and count certain aspects of your life. The appropriate measure, the most meaningful measure, and then keep going. Keep counting, keep counting, keep counting. If it's your body fat, you might be weighing yourself on the scale every single day, because that's going to imprint the patterns, the mindset shift that's required for you to then do things differently. Okay, we need to lay the path. Number 4, this one I hung around with for a long time before I got to the bottom of it, really. So this is thinking in weeks and months, and this is what the marketing wants you to think. They want you to give you that quick bang that quick bang for your buck, because that's shiny, that's easy for you to take in, spend some money on, and then not get a result. Thinking in weeks and months as opposed to years and decades. I'm going to go that one again because I don't like the way it went. Number 4, thinking in weeks. Well, number 4, the fourth way to stay fatter, unfitter, and feel like crap. is thinking weeks and months instead of years and decades. Number 4 is getting stuck. Number 4, thinking in weeks and months as opposed to years and decades. Something that I got caught up in for a long time, thinking that everything had to be really quick and fast, but not thinking far enough ahead to actually put the right process in place that's going to give me the results for the long term. This is a tricky one. We're wired to think in the short term, immediate gratification, and the marketing that we all have in the fitness space, in all the spaces, is to fill that gap, the immediate gratification. So we need to change the wiring in our head effectively, however complicated that might be, to not do this. We need to put a process in place that stops us from thinking in weeks or hours or days and months to years and decades, especially when it comes to your health and fitness. This links back to number 1, keep doing what you did in your 20s. Okay, we need to re-engineer this so we're forward facing and we're doing the right things in our 30s and 40s that are going to last for our 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, because we want to live a healthy, happy life. That is a difficult thing to do. Sounds straightforward, but that is a difficult thing to do because we're wired for the instant gratification. There we go. Number 5, the 5th way to stay fatter, in pain and lose a battle with your health and fitness. Prioritize everything over your own health and fitness. Okay, and this one I think hits hard because we do this naturally. Okay, we want to give ourselves to other people, especially if you've got family, especially if you've got children that you love, loved ones. You want to do things for them, and therefore your own health and fitness takes a back seat. Okay, this is a surefire way do all those things that we don't want to do with the health and fitness. And again, it's a little bit of short-sightedness because we're not thinking long term about how we want to represent the world and show up for the people we love. If we're not doing the things to look after ourselves, allocating the time that's required, then how long or how well are you going to be able to show up in your loved ones' lives to be the best you can be and support them in the best way? And I see this all the time, guys that come to me and say, I don't have time, I'm too busy working, or the family's the priority, I've got to do the things for the children. I'll tell you now, reality check, what you need to do for your children is be fit, be strong, be mobile, and be as lean as possible and live long, healthy lives so you're there to support them for the next 40, 50 years. Yeah, that's a tough one. Something to really ponder, I think. One that is easy to glaze over. The 6th way to stay fatter and stay in pain and lose the battle with your health and fitness is telling yourself that you don't have time. So very similar to number 5 in some ways. Just this notion that we don't have time to do fitness, we don't have time to eat healthily, we don't have time to think about our own well-being is hard, because if we're not doing that, then what are we prioritizing? And, you know, if you tally up how much time you spend on Netflix, I know you enjoy it, I know you decompress you for the day and all that stuff, and then your phone will actually tell you how much time you're spending on Instagram and social media. You tally that up and think about the process that you could have embarked on in terms of your health and fitness, whether it be looking at your nutrition or getting out, going for a walk or doing some exercise. If you allocate all that time, where would you be in 6, 12 months' time? Okay, time is about priorities. It's that simple. What is the priority, and therefore what you're allocating your time against? Links into consistency. Don't get me started on that for the moment. The 7th way to stay fatter, grow old in pain, and live an unhealthy short life is believe you'll be lucky and just stay healthy. And if you do suddenly get some chronic illness, blame it on luck and just live thinking that everything will be okay. That is a lack of, I think, responsibility and ownership over your own health. And that, I think, is something that I've seen with over a decade in emergency medicine, is rocking up to guys' houses in their 50s, 60s and 70s that have just lost the battle with their health and fitness. And part of what's going on in the psychology there, I think, is kind of thinking that everything will be okay when you're not putting in the work. You don't have the processes in place to ensure you're doing everything you can do. That is a massive wake-up call, I think, for lots and lots of people. If you're tuning into this, that hopefully you've already been through that process of waking up to the importance of the work that's required to be the healthiest and the fittest you can be. But it's something that we see over and over again, and the statistics show that. I mean, we look at the obesity epidemic, and everyone is kind of getting worse in terms of the numbers. So hopefully that's not you. Okay, those are the 7 things to do if you want to stay fatter, you want to get fatter, you want to live an unhealthy life, you want to have zero energy, and you want to feel all the time. Let's run through them very, very quickly and flip them on their head and work out what we need to be doing, what actions we need to be taking to actually get on the front foot with the health and fitness. It's going to be short and sweet. Stay with me. Number 1. Instead of keep doing what you're doing or think about yourself as you were in the 20s, what we need to do is have a plan that's appropriate for your age and adult and maturity level that you are. It sounds simple, but it's absolutely true. We need to transition from thinking a bit of a run, bit of football, curry, Friday night beers, all that stuff is helpful because it's social, whatever it might be. We need to have a system and a process that's helping us getting towards the goals we've got now and the goals we want in 10, 20, 30, 40 years' time. Yes, I want you to be around for that long, so stay tuned. I'm going to be here delivering this for that long as well, so we should be good. It needs to be an appropriate plan for a 30-year-old who needs to drop 2 kilograms, 5 kilograms, 10 kilograms, whatever it might be in terms of fat. It's got to be an appropriate plan for a 40-year-old who has poor hip mobility. That needs to be unique to you, and it needs to be focused for the time you're in. That's going to look forward into the future, okay? It's not about what you did in your 20s. Forget that stuff. Number 2, yes, this one's straightforward. Instead of following every fitfluencer out there on the internet, find a system that's going to work, turn off all the noise, put the blinkers on, and progress in that system and that process. Obviously, you need to iterate and work out what's going on. That's where the objective measures comes in place. We'll touch on that in a second. But it's so important that you get a plan and stick to it for the long term. Think in years, not months, not weeks, not days, years. Number 3, okay, instead of not counting, you need to apply an objective measure. So start counting something. Again, this is where a good coach comes in. I'm not selling myself on this, but this is where accountability and objectivity join forces, and having an external party who can help you with that and telling you what the right measure is. I can't do that over the video because I don't know. However, I can give you a couple of pointers. Most of the guys I've worked with find it really hard to continuously count calories on an app. Okay, they find that doesn't work very well for themselves, so you might want to switch to tracking total protein intake every day. I think that's a really good measure to start off with, something that's achievable, straightforward, doesn't take too long. Just see what you're eating, tally up the protein. That's a good one. You can get on the scales every morning. That's a really good behavioural change mechanism in terms of measuring something. What else do I think is effective? Okay, measuring actual around your waist. That's, I think, can be worked really well. There's a number of other ones. The point is, it needs to be applicable to what you want to achieve. Okay, the measure and the outcome need to be tallied together. Okay, so number 4, instead of thinking in days, weeks and months, we're going to think in years and decades. So that's, again, makes sense, but difficult to do because we've got this instant gratification monkey in our brain that's going, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now, I want a burger, I want to go out, and I go for a run, I feel better straight away. That is the cassette we need to take out. We need to change things slightly. We need to just stick to a system. Again, external validation, some accountability, some path to follow that's been proven, but a bit of buy-in from you helps a lot. The 5th one is really hard, okay? Prioritize everything over your own health, flipping that around, prioritizing your own health first, above the needs of your children, your family, etc., and your time commitments is a real challenge. And I've only got empathy in the journey to do this. And sometimes it's so hard for people, especially if their spouse, family, peer group, whatever that might be, on a health journey, and you're trying to break away. You're trying to be the crab that reached for the top of the bucket and you're getting pulled down. Even if it's just very subtly, subconsciously, and not in a malicious way, it's just happening. It can still prove real friction. So there's real friction in this 5th one. And what can I say? Just try to start off by finding 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening so you can do a little bit of mobility. Think about planning ahead for your meals, for when you're at work or whatever it is, you're away from the distractions of your life. You know, small marginal gains I think can be really effective in just clearing the headspace first, understanding what's going on in our world, and then applying a bit more of a developed, advanced system to ensure you're prioritizing your own health first. And honestly, you will compound the gains of doing that into all the other aspects of your life very, very quickly, okay? Weeks and months, and suddenly you'll have the more energy, you'll be doing more, you'll just be feeling more alive, and you'll know that the path you've chosen is the right one. However, to get going, to remove that friction initially can be very difficult, and I've got a lot of empathy for that. I appreciate that we need to balance what's going on in our world. Number 6, again, linked to number 5 in terms of prioritization. telling yourself you don't have time. So finding time to do this stuff and understanding how to prioritize it is a key skill that needs to be developed. And I think part of that is just being really open and honest with yourself, the hardest thing to do. First, we need truth before we can have process, right? We just need to be open and honest as to what we're actually doing with our time. We really do. So we need to understand what's going on in the evenings, what's going on in our free time, and how we can reallocate those resources. Okay, there isn't a simple solution for this. Well, there's a simple solution. There isn't an easy solution for this. The simple solution is find the time. You have it. We've all got the same 24 hours to spend every single day. Yeah, we get it out, we spend it. We do an hour of this, hour of that, hour this, hour of that. You have the time. We all have the time. It's how we're choosing to spend that time. Okay, that's the simple part. The hard part is actually making a change. And that's why I'm always encouraging of people to find 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Keep that going for a couple of months. See how you get on. See how you feel. And then advance it to half an hour. You know, just snippets of time to do something. Yeah. Number 7, believe that you'll be lucky. And just stay healthy. Or if you do get unlucky, just blame it on luck. Well, what can you do? I've seen this in my own family, and obviously I've seen it in my clinical role as a paramedic, and people outsourcing their health is fundamentally a very broken system, and kind of we've got a really strange situation here where we're looking to someone else to give us the expert advice, and that decision making is their problem. That again is a road to nowhere, and that's what we need to flip around and take ownership and own our problems, own our challenges, own the situation we're in, back to truth, own the situation we're in, and really try and develop a system that's going to help us take the ownership and build on it and actually do something to affect it and change it. Flip it around. You know, genetics do play a part, but think about the questions and the answers that empower you to take action. So thinking about luck, thinking about genetics, those things are outside of your control. Therefore, I don't think they're worth counting when it comes to putting a plan together. That you need to discount what's outside of your control. And I think you'd be amazed, and there's lots of anecdotal stories obviously out there about this. You'd be amazed how quickly and how dramatically you can change your physique and you can change your health outcomes if you just focus and take those repeated actions that move you in the right direction. Aside from genetics, aside from luck and lottery of life, etc. It really is amazing what people can do, and the examples are all around us. Whether it's someone who's been diagnosed with diabetes and they've turned their nutrition around, they turned their health around, gained some muscle, and suddenly that diagnosis has gone away. Yeah, these things happen all the time. If you take ownership, you take control, you take positive action. Those are the 7. I just think follow, subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you like this, if you want more of this, and leave us a comment. Let me know which one was most important for you and which one that you are working on and which one is the hardest. Guys, I will see you on the next video.